So what I thought I'd cover today is a few examples of some of the common problems that my clients run into, and I'm going to give you in less than 5 minutes how to deal with some of those things. So I'm going to give you the very short version of what it takes to make a business more successful. There's three very common problems that I run into. The first one is they don't have enough cash in their business. The second big problem is they never seem to have enough time. And the last thing that they always seem to run into is the organization is always making the same mistakes over and over. So for those of you that are owners in the room, feel free to agree or disagree with me on those, but those are usually the big ones. So let's talk about not enough cash. The biggest thing that I find with the clients I work with is that they are not charging enough or not considering that they bring enough value to the table and that they always have to be low price to get the business. And unfortunately, all that does is it puts a tremendous strain on your operating cash, and the more business you get, the worse the problem gets. So that's the first one. Second thing that goes with that is a lot of them will extend credit to their customers when they have no business doing that, and then they don't chase them for collections. So again, they do the work, they send the invoice out, and they don't get paid. And guess what? It doesn't matter until you get paid. So that's it right there. So those are the areas that have to do with lack of cash. And the solution there obviously is make sure you're charging enough to make it work for your business, and make sure if you're giving credit to your customers that you have a good policy on who you give it to, how much, and most importantly that you're chasing them when they're not paying. Not having enough time. Well, most business owners usually start out as a one-man operation or a one-woman operation, and they become the person who does everything. And as their business starts to grow, they still want to know what is going on, how it's being done, is it being done correctly? And the problem with that is by not being able to let go, their time gets overwhelmed because they've got to make every single decision at all hours of the day, all days of the week, and it's because they're not comfortable letting go and letting someone else in their organization make some of those decisions. And usually that's because they have a lack of trust of the people that work for them, or the basic talent that they brought into their organization is not at a level that they're comfortable. So if you're going to be successful in growing your business, you've got to be able to delegate, which means you got to have an organization structure in place that will allow you to delegate work tasks and assignments, and you got to make sure that you've got enough talent. Don't be afraid to bring someone into your organization that actually has some pretty good skills in whatever that either functional or managerial level is that you bring them in at. So that's the solution to the time problem. Repetitive mistakes. Repetitive mistakes usually occur because procedures aren't followed, because the handoff from sales to operations is not well documented. These are the places where the mistakes can occur. So as the expression goes, there never seems to be enough time to do it correctly, but there's always enough time to do it over. And that's a common symptom that I run into with companies I work with. So it revolves, the solution to fix this type of situation is how do you train your employees? Do you have documentation on your processes and procedures? Do you communicate frequently with your folks on what's expected and give them feedback on how they did on a given job? And if you have a problem that occurs, do you address it on the spot, or do you just let it sit and move on? Okay, so all of these things come to bear on the ability of your organization to provide the product or service the way you want to provide it. So there's your solutions to all the common problems. Obviously, it takes a lot more effort than just the words that I've talked about, but these are areas that I tend to work on with virtually every one of my clients. And I'm going to talk briefly in closing about what's an ideal referral for me. An ideal referral would be clearly a business owner, but they need to have a little bit of size and scale, and I define that size and scale in two different ways. Annual revenues need to be at least $1 million a year and can be as large as 10, but most of my really good clients end up being in that $2 to $4 million range for annual sales. Anywhere from about 5 to 50 employees is another good indicator. And then as I like to say, if you see that business owner talking to themselves, that's another good indicator that they need someone like myself to talk to. So that kind of covers the things that I provide to my clients. And again, this group has provided me a lot of great opportunities over the years, and I look forward to having some more opportunities in the future. And with that, I will bring it to a close.